Center for Spiritual Living, welcome to our beloved sanctuary. So we're going to start the service with a song called This Is the Day. If everybody would please rise and help us sing this song and bring up the spirit, we really appreciate it, and we'll get it started.
Good morning. Welcome to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Clyde Goins, the assistant minister here, and I'm knowing that everyone had a loving, joy-filled, wonderful Thanksgiving, full of food, family, and friends. So it was really wonderful for me, and I hope it was wonderful for you. So thank you guys for coming back on Sunday. So now we just jumped right into December. So today is the first day of December, and now we have a lot more activities going on. So the first, I want to remind everybody that we have the Wednesday night, our candlelight service is on December the 18th. It's the Wednesday before Christmas, right? Not the day before, but the week before. It's a Wednesday. We always do it the week before Christmas, and so it'll be at 6:30. It's always a beautiful experience, so please join us for that wonderful celebration. And then we have the Burning Bowl ceremony that's going to be December 31st, which is going to be at 6 p.m., and that's also another beautiful way to end the year, where you come in with Sue Witter, and she's going to be hosting and doing the Burning Bowl with Reverend Sue. And so we're going to be doing the Burning Bowl. She will be doing the Burning Bowl, and we will be participating. And it's a really great way to just release the year and just get ready for the new year. But before all of that fun, we have to decorate the center. So next weekend, next Saturday at 9 a.m., we're looking for decorators. So please come in and help us decorate the center. We're going to be decorating the whole center in here, and also in Packey Hall and in the entryway. So please join us in helping us decorate and make this place all festive. We are going to be keeping up our giving tree. It's going to stay the giving tree until the end of the year, and we still have more room for more pot holders. Even people online. So we are so close to our goal, and we are really excited. So please, if you have not decided, today is the day to put your pot holder on that tree. Please turn in your pledge cards now. So, okay, that was a little forceful. When you get a chance, turn them in, please. All right. So those all of our wonderful. Two more announcements. One is the Spot On, the Thursday spiritual practice that Reverend Karen's been doing every Thursday. We're going to be taking a break until the end of the year, till starting next year, and then we'll decide what we're going to be doing going into in January 2025. And then the last announcement is so we have Reverend. Not Reverend, Dr. Practitioner Kay Fontana. Might as well be a Reverend, right? So she's the doctor. But Kay Fontana, she's going to be doing the ceremony of remembrance after service today. So it's going to be go in, have a few snacks, and then come back in here, and then join her in this beautiful celebration of life for remembering all of those wonderful people and animals after service. Now, the other thing I'd like to ask everybody is to be a little quieter as we're leaving after service, because it's going to be a very sacred place that she's creating for us, for people to remember their family members and their loved ones and their pets and everything. So, but anyway, it's going to be after service today, so please join her in that beautiful experience. So those are all of our announcements for today. So thank you guys for participating and listening to all of that. And remember, you can always go to our website, wvcsl.com, and all that information is on our website. And you can also have a newsletter sent to you if you fill out the little newsletter cards and drop it off in the boxes. And then one last announcement I just remembered is the choir. We'll need the choir for next weekend. So next weekend, if the choir will come in, because Kathy is ready to have you guys sing.
Let's have a meeting in Pathke Hall after our snacks, and I'll hand out the song, okay?
Yep, and then that way you guys can practice and be ready for this practice next weekend. All right, so that is our announcements today. So let's start off by saying our vision statement together. We are a loving, joy-filled community, honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles, and so it is. So just sit back, relax, open up your hearts and minds for the Bradford's beautiful music and Reverend Karen's wonderful message. Thank you.
So just take a deep breath, relax as we move within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. move in my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
One essence, one love, one joy, one peace, one beauty, one health. The essence of all there ever was, ever will be, and is right here, right now. And I choose to call this essence God. And this God permeates everything. And I am so grateful for this knowledge, so grateful for this understanding that I am one with this God. All this God is, I am. As I know this for myself, I know this for each of us here. Each of us watching online, I know this for each individualization in this whole planet. We are all one with. And God shows up through us as us. And knowing this, I just say a word of blessing for the Bradfords and their music and how they move us and bring us together and give us joy. And Reverend Karen's message that always, always, always teaches us lessons that we can learn and take in and show forth so other people can see and learn. And knowing that this service is absolutely perfect just the way it is, I just release this into the law. And together we say, and so it is. You guys, I found this cool book. Well, no, it was I don't believe in accidents. But I love Emmett Fox. So I found the companion to the Sermon on the Mount called the Ten Commandments. So he does the Ten Commandments metaphysically. And I just get excited. So today, I'm going to read from the chapter, I Am That I Am. Anybody who knows me, I'm always going, I am that I am. That's my favorite thing. So the first commandment says, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. To have other gods is idolatry, and that is the blanket sin. It is a term that covers all evil. Every kind of sin that man can commit boils down to idolatry because he is putting something before God. There's only one God who is the only presence and the only power. Genesis says, in the beginning, God. In Exodus, we have, I am the Lord thy God. Jesus begins his prayer, Our Father. In modern idiom, adapted to the mentality of this age, we say, God is the only presence and the only power. But is the old, old message, the old, old truth. Now, when God spoke to Moses out of the burning bush, he said, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt say to the children of Israel, I am hath sent me. This states, as can be done in limited language, the nature of God. You cannot define God. To define means to limit, to make finite. When you say that a thing is red, you mean it is not blue or green. When you say a thing is square, you are not implying that it is not round and so forth. Any definition, any description is a limitation if it is to be useful. However, God is infinite and you cannot define God. Spinoza said, to define God is to deny him. And so the Bible does not attempt to define God. The Bible does not try to do that. The Bible teaches metaphysics and says that God is, I am that I am. What does that mean? In the very same verse, God says to Moses, Thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am that have sent me. I am, but what is I am? It is your true being. It is your real nature, your real self, and nobody else. Because no one else can say, I am for you. Only you can say, I am. That is your real identity, the presence of God in you, indwelling Christ. That is you. And whatever you attach to I am with conviction, that you are and that you have. And so it is. Awesome.
So I'm hoping you guys can help us out with this song when it comes around. I think you'll know. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note, but don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Here's the part.
Help me out now.
Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody done took your bed, but don't worry. Be happy. The landlord say your rent is late. Might have to litigate, but don't worry. Be happy.
Are you ready now?
One more time. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no girl to make you smile, but don't worry. Be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown. That will bring everybody down. So don't worry. Be happy. Here we go. Okay. This is a little song I wrote. I hope you learn it note for note, so don't worry. Be happy. In your life, expect some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy.
Oh, I'm doing this today. I forgot to tell you that. Good morning. Oh, that was so fun. What a great way to start the day. That was so fun. And by the way, I bet you guys, Bradfords, I'll bet you didn't know this, but apparently, remind me who did that? That's Bob Marley. Yes, Marley? No. Oh. Well, the person that wrote that song, say it, Sue? Oh, she doesn't know. Don't look at me with all that authority then. You're a reverend. I think you know something. Oh, thank you. Boy, see, if you just pause long enough, somebody will Google it and we'll have it all figured out. But when Bobby McFerrin wrote that song, what he didn't tell anybody was he was quoting Emma Curtis Hopkins right out of our textbook. It's fabulous. When you worry, you double it, or whatever that line is. That is a direct quote we use from Emma. So, good morning. Welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Karen, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. And it's funny how fast things are moving, because Reverend Clyde is telling everybody, hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and it feels to me like it was a long time ago already. So much has happened since Thursday. So we are here today. Holy cow, it's December. That whole Thanksgiving happening a little later in the month than we're accustomed to really kind of snuck up the holidays on us in a surprising way. And look at our tree. I am so happy with our giving tree. So we decorated this tree in November in this great anticipation of having a successful stewardship program, and voila, you have not disappointed us. And you have until the end of this month to turn in a card, and the little orange cards, or the salmon colored cards, are sitting right out in Holmes Base near in the bookstore. And if you want to just grab a card and fill it out and drop it in the gold box, we will put a pot holder on the tree for your card, because I see some blank spaces still. I'm thinking we could still fill it up, and we're doing really well. We're very happy you're helping us meet our goal, because it guarantees we will be here throughout 2025 in this expansive way that we bring these ideas, these beautiful ways to be the co-creator of your own life in the upcoming and new year. So the first Sunday in December, I always dedicate this message to giving us an opportunity to really be intentional in how we want to move through the month of December. So for lots of people, it's sort of a demand on the calendar, and it's not necessarily a fun thing. If you don't like Christmas carols, it just makes shopping just not very pleasant for the whole month, and maybe even a little thereafter. But for other people, there's a beauty to the holiday season, no matter what tradition you celebrate, whether you seek to have the experience of the sacred ideas around this season, or you just love the idea of the winter solstice and the return of the light and all the great things we do around the broader traditions that are not so religious, but perhaps in the primal sense they're the most religious, but we do honor every element of what happens this time of year. And so you get to choose what that means to you, and I want you to do it fresh every year, so I try and write an original message, but my focus is to help you see that whether you love this time of year, this season, the holidays, the festivities, the family functions, or whether you are the biggest Scrooge on your block. It doesn't really matter, but it's helpful for us to examine it and just to realize we're in choice. And so 1 year ago, a little more than a year ago, they got a secret little something going on there. Bulls, he whispered something in her ear, and she is still giggling. See, I'll rat you out if I'm afraid you're talking about me. I'm going to turn around. Okay, be happy. Oh, give me a mic and a song. I think I'm somebody else. So the season just brings this mixture of emotions and reactions. And a little more than a year ago, I made a decision. I'm picking my talk titles, and I find this perfect quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes in the book, This Thing Called You. And he wrote these words: "It is certain that you will have to love your fellow man if you wish to be happy. Your union with God implies your union with everything, so don't be afraid of this." A little more than a year ago, I thought it was going to be about Christmas, right? about the holiday season. And now I look at this quote and I'm thinking, I'm not sure I would have picked that quote. It's a little specific in terms of we are only 1 month away from the election that just happened in 2024, and we will always remember it. So the title of my talk is, ironically, If You Wish to Be Happy. If you wish to be happy, and Holmes says that it is certain if you want to be happy, you have to love each other. You have to look at that way we come together, because your union with God has that bigger implication that you really are connected to everything else, But then he throws in that fabulous close, and he says, do not be afraid of this. And I think that's what I want to carry into what we're looking at this morning, this beautiful idea that as long as you recognize you are in choice, we're not victims to the calendar. It's just a lot of sweet, I don't know who makes all those decisions about, every day has something on it. You could you make it and almost anything out of anything these days. Oh, we could have fun with that one. We could create we made a potholder day. I love it. I love it. I think the only thing we need to change is the big mitt on the top. Although look how nicely it's lit. It is, huh? Maybe we should just leave it there. I don't know. We'll decide. What I love about this quotation from Dr. Holmes is that when he's talking about the way we're all connected, he's saying it's my union with God that glues me, that it connects me, but it's like it glues me into union with everything else in life. And that's a gorgeous thing to remember. It is about making a commitment to recognizing our oneness, the way that we are oneing with Spirit itself. And I love being immersed in that idea that the Holy Spirit is just always washing us and purifying us and getting us excited about spiritual matters. So when we are consciously oneing with God, and when we make a determination to do that with some consistency in our life, then what happens to us is that we do sort of expand in terms of consciousness so that we are not as afraid. Don't be afraid of this, he says. There is a way for us to ease into the month. So it is in this very idea, the first Sunday in December, that we deliver a message that reminds us we can see this time of year as a call to new possibilities. There's a lot of reflection that goes on at the end of the year, and especially in spiritual community, we look at that. We look at that way we review what we've accomplished and what ways we'd like to change our own consciousness and affirm a character we desire to exhibit in our living. Now, I personally have no problem admitting to you that I do feel a little pressure to jingle some bells and to deck some halls. But ultimately, I'm always coming back to that place of knowing that I, too, am at choice. Even though ministers have very full plates at this time of year, it's valuable, it's almost vital to remember that ultimately we are all at choice. And the reason I don't get too intimidated by that, I do have days where I feel a little more overwhelmed than other days. We all do. But the reason it doesn't just, own me in terms of worry and all of that is that, I have access. I know you know this. I have access to a superpower. It's greater than I am, and it's a power for good, and I look for some way every single Sunday to say that out loud to you, because not only do I have access to that superpower, but so do you. You don't have to be in this room to have access to that superpower. Those of you at home listening are equally open. And by your very attentiveness to this message, it's a signal. It enacts that law of attraction. So you are drawing to yourself a greater sense of awareness of this spiritual presence and power that is always right in the middle of our lives. And so I can make this month whatever I want it to be, and so can you, because what we know is happiness is a choice. But if you wish to be happy, title of the talk, right? If you wish to be happy, there are some guidelines that we can follow. And so I wanted to start this morning with a beautiful quotation I found from Bertrand Russell, who is I quote him from time to time because he has luscious spiritual quotations that are fitting in so many ways, but he's a contemporary British philosopher who also happens to be a mathematician, which always blows my mind a little bit. It's like, how could you, mathematics is so exacting and so linear, and yet he has this great philosophical interest in life and spirituality. So Russell said these words that I wanted to share this morning. The secret of happiness is this: let your interests be as wide as possible, and let your reactions to the things and the persons that interest you, let your reactions be friendly rather than hostile. Wow, this is also just gorgeous wisdom. Let your interests be wide. Stretch your consciousness and your interests, and you will find that you are allowing more possibilities to be evident and within your reach. So let your interests be wide, and let your reactions be friendly, not hostile. See, what that tells me is if I want to broaden my interests and I want to be friendly in how I react or respond to life, I think what I feel here is a theme of curiosity. See, curiosity is the thing, that very ingredient that opens our minds so that we are more pliable, so that we're a little softer. We're not as harsh in the way that we show up in life. When we're softer, we see things differently. We're not so defensive and harsh on our edges. But here's what I understand. Here's what we understand because of the science of human behavior. What makes me harsh in any situation, or any of us? What makes us harsh is when we bump into the edge of our values. And values are not right or wrong. Each of us prioritizes our values in a very individual way. And we even shift those, we reprioritize as needed as to what we value the most in life. And when we have conflict, it's because our values are differing. We bump into each other in terms of that. And I notice in my own experience, when I feel like my values have been compromised, if I feel like I'm on the edge of being out of integrity in some situation I'm involved in or some way I'm perceiving something, then there is an instantaneous sense of harshness about me. It's like the ego just takes over, and then there's something that makes those edges come up. It's almost like we become overprotective of our space. Not just our physical space, but in terms of beliefs. And that's, we have been witnessing the way people bump into each other when our beliefs are different. But there are things in life that help me soften those edges. There are ways we can broaden our interests. The perfect example is something that happened yesterday Reverend Clyde and Mark hosted I think it's our very first Gourmet for God event of this season. And they did. They called it the Brecken Trek. So we met at Clyde and Mark's home, and they prepared breakfast for us. It was wonderful, except that French toast had way too much butter in it. I'm just gonna say, butter is. I've been talking to Juliana about it all morning yesterday, and I think that next time you make that French toast, Mark, you should make it with bacon fat. It would make me real happy. I'd be real happy. As I said, sometimes our values differ, and you feel like your integrity's being a little imposed upon, and you have to let everybody know. This is why me and Sue can hang out together, because we both got it. We don't agree on everything, but we know how to do that, right? So we make it fun. But anyhow, I went to this Gourmet for God event, and it's the Hidden in the Hills. It's this big art event, and it's 2 weekends, and you could never see. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be difficult to see every artist because you're driving all over Cave Creek and some of the expanded areas around Cave Creek, which is kind of a cool place to hang. Yes, we were in your neighborhood all day, and we talked about you too. I kept thinking about you guys. It's like, man, I'm so close. We're so close to the Bradfords. But I mean, there are artists of you. I can't even. You wouldn't even think of some of the things that they make into art or make out of things to make art. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. You know, the metal junk collector guy that does the huge sculptures, and I fell in love with a big giant roadrunner bird that was just all rebar and all kinds of crazy weird things that I'd love to have in my yard. And then there's, clay of plates and vases and statues and anything you could think of, and jewelry of every sorts. And then the artists are there creating in front of you, and you get to go in their studio, some of them. It's just a really amazing, fun day. I probably will make an effort to never miss that Saturday playfulness. And there's something interesting about hanging out with artists if you're not an artist. I tend to be linear. I like black and white. Right? And life makes sense to me in a way that I order it. But man, there were painters. There was an artist that did paper tearing and did collage and then painted around it. And from a distance, as we were walking toward the paintings, it was like, oh, those are so beautiful. And then you get up close to them, and it's a bunch of shredded paper and hidden words, and it's very beautiful and creative. And so there is all kinds of ways that I was pulled out of my comfort zone into this outrageously colorful and interesting environment with wild and crazy people who are the artists and their properties. Even just visiting the properties is a thrill to see how they have taken art into the architecture of the layout of their homes and the buildings and even the sidewalks. There was this one wonky sidewalk and it's all hilly, it's in Cave Creek. And there were these lizards that were just like, I can't even explain it. They were so beautiful in the sidewalk. They live like that. And I love quirky life. And I love color. I don't like to wear it, but I love the aesthetics of colors either done well together or boldly contrasting, and I love all of that. So art has a way of pulling me out of my normal way of thinking. And it's confusing. I actually felt a little dizzy in the morning. It was like, whoa, too much color here, and interesting people, and the energy is different. But in one of the art studios, we saw this sign. And so I took a picture of this quote, and I don't know who it is, who said it. I don't know if it was the artist or she was quoting somebody else, but here's the quote. I love this stuff for this reason. Art is an act of the soul, not the intellect. right? You got to get out of your, you got to get out of your linear way of thinking to be able to do any kind of creative, productive, enjoyable creative. You can call anything art. The job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. Oh, I didn't hear anybody go, on that one, right? Because you can't, because it's such a profound statement. The job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. Art evokes the mystery without which the world would not exist. You know why? Because that's God. That's spirit. That's the infinite wisdom of all the universe. That is the creator of all creating. Creator with a capital C. It's a fabulous example of us being invited to be curious about what we don't know. Because when we are open to the mystery, when we are open to admit we just don't know everything, then we evoke the mystery of more. And that statement implies that there's a piece of surrender in here that's really an important piece of the spiritual experience. I surrender. I don't have to know. You know why you don't have to know? Because you can ask Alexa. She knows everything. Right? We don't have to be obsessed with trivia anymore. I don't even think Trivial Pursuit, those games would even be fun. Now we just all Google it. Or we ask Alexa. Or you let your car boss you around. It's like, it's an interesting world that we're living in. But what I know is it's that part of the mystery. It's that part of the idea of the Holy Spirit just hovering and the grace of God streaming everywhere. That is the very thing that softens my edges, that takes the harshness out of my reactions. So now let's talk about the calendar again. Let's go all the way back and let's talk about the calendar. December makes some of us harsh and some of us happy. And I do love this month. Actually, I love January even more so for the same reason. It's an opportunity. I sit still in January, so it's an opportunity to look through those, review my year, and to set sacred intention. Not New Year's resolutions so much, but to set sacred intention for the year before me. So if you don't flow easily into the holiday by nature of who you are or by your priorities, the way you prioritize your values, then know that it's okay. But remember also that if you wish to be happy, stay open. And above all other things, don't be afraid. I think when we're gentle with ourselves, I say this often because I think it's an important message. When I'm gentle with me, it helps me be kinder with you. I think it's also actually very relevant this morning because Kay Fontana, Dr. Kay, that was really cute. You might as well be a reverend. You got so many degrees. Kay Fontana is one of our beloved practitioners and also my person that does all my hard work in the office. And she is doing today a ceremony of remembrance. Does it have a proper title, Kay? Is that it? Is that okay? She's doing the ceremony of remembrance. And Kay came to me many months ago and said, in December, isn't there actually an official holiday with almost that name or something and that kind of... That is actually something that is calendared, but it gave Kay this idea that sometimes, because Kay has a degree and she's got all kinds of certificates and stuff, but she does her grief work. She's just the master of working with people who are moving through any kind of grief experience. So if you are and you need help, Kay's your person. But Kay has many gifts, and she has been saying for several weeks, if you have pictures of loved ones who have passed or pets that that you just love remembering, please send them to me because I'm going to create a slide presentation. And she gave you a deadline, and I came into work on, was it probably like Wednesday, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and Kay said, it's a little disappointing because I don't have a lot of slides, and I don't, and I'm not sure how I want to do it now. It's going to change the format. And I went, oh, hang on, I haven't even started giving you mine yet. So I started pulling out pictures, but I also happen to have in my office, it's a little stunning to acknowledge this, but I have framed pictures of beloved members of this community who have made their transition. And so I said, oh, Judy Thompson and just a lot, as many people as I had pictures of. So it was a very last minute deal. And then a day later, she sent me a preview of the slide presentation that she has created, and it is exquisite. If you choose to stay today, I can almost guarantee you won't want to miss it next year when we do it again, and you will want to be sure you send in pictures of your loved ones because you, my dear friend, have some kind of a gift in putting together spectacular slide presentations with deep, heartfelt meaning, and I'm very grateful to have that in my life. So think about hanging around for that today because it will be quite, it'll be easy and tender and a great way and opportunity to love and honor our loved ones. December for me was always a fun month, whether or not we celebrated Christmas, because we didn't always in the early days of my marriage. But in 1978, I gave birth to my last baby, and she was born on December 26th. The day after Christmas. So what that means is I was in labor on Christmas Day and all through the night, and I gave birth to her in the wee hours of the morning. And so it was always fun, and it was always joyous for us. And it was also a little tricky to try and really honor her in a respectful way. I see anybody born in December is going, yes, it's hard to be honored. So it's a terrible time to be born because you don't get acknowledged alone. Your birthday present is often wrapped in Christmas wrapping paper and things like that. But we did the best we could do. And then my daughter, when she got old enough, she used to say, it's really hard sharing your birthday with Jesus. And it is. So we just always made it a really fun time. But about 40 years after she was born, it's the same month her father died. So now you have that bittersweet shift. And now when December comes around, our family is no longer just excited about Lacey's birthday. We now are contending with our own sadness and sort of the rupture that you go through. And it will always, for the rest of their lives, they'll have that bittersweetness. But here's the deal. By a certain age, each and every one of us will have some kind of sad memory in the month of December because there's only 12 months. And things happen all year long. I remember when we were in lockdown and it first became apparent that somebody you loved, Nancy Noel, actually, who's watching online. Nancy Noel's birthday had planned a big, splashy birthday party right here in Papke Hall, and she had invited a ton of people. It was going to be her 80th. I believe it was her 80th birthday. Is it okay that I said that? Oops, too late. Sorry, Nance. And it was, I think it was the first in my face, like, oh my God, how could we not have this is a really big deal. This seems so sad. And then it just prolonged. And then all of us were touched in some way. Kids didn't get to, some of my grandchildren didn't get to graduate from high school. And they missed all the senior proms and the list goes on. And we all know because we all did that together. So by now, everybody has a little something that could be bittersweet. And that's why I love the idea of the ceremony of remembrance. So thank you, Kay. I didn't plan to plug you like that, but then I saw the video and, oh, it's so gorgeous. The interesting part about the month of December is that it is a month that is very significantly related to the idea of transitions, of endings and beginnings. And December is the 12th month. And in numerology, the number 12 represents completion. And December ends the year. Now, I don't know anything about numerology, but I stumbled on this information and I thought, my goodness, we're talking about mathematicians again, because Pythagoras, the great mathematician from long ago, is considered the father of modern numerology. But the funny thing is that more than 1,000 years before Pythagoras even walked on the earth, the ancient Babylonians and the Egyptians and there are holy writings from the Vedas of India. More than 1,000 years before Pythagoras, we had these spiritual teachings based on numerology. Pythagoras believed that numbers were the fundamental essence of reality and that each number has a unique vibration and therefore a significance. So it sounds like something I might enjoy studying one day myself. But in the study of numerology, this is what I learned. Every digit in a number carries its own vibration. So when you look at the number 12, you are looking at the number 1 and you are looking at the number 2. Totally takes me into that, remembering that beautiful Rumi quote. You think you understand 2 because you know that 1 and 1 is 2, but you have forgotten and. You have forgotten and, the coming together. So the number 1 represents something new, and number 2 represents partnership in its simplest breakdown. And so what we see is that there's something important here. There's a spiritual call to look at the relationships of beginnings and endings in terms of the way we relate to the possibilities for our own life. To really consider the potentials that you would like to sort of set as intentions for the days ahead. So 12 is the perfect number for the end of a year. It's a perfect opportunity for us to clean out the old and reorganize our homes and our lives. Isn't it wonderful that Kathy Rose did the rummage sale so we could all clean out our stuff and then she came back and cooked breakfast. My goodness, that woman is incredible. So there are so many ways we can be open and expectant if we want to be happy. Here is a quote that I made reference to it a few weeks back because I'd heard this great acronym for change, but I found the whole quote so I can give it to you today. It's actually spoken from a Dominican nun of Mission San Jose. Oh, you might know her, Juliana. San Jose? She goes, okay. Just say yes. Here's what... Here are her words. Here is the longer quote. In the journeys of transition, when endings are done well, beginnings are much more peaceful. Change, therefore, is a beautiful acronym for a chance to have a new God experience. CHANGE. A chance to have a new God experience. So if you wish to be happy, give life a chance to give you a whole new December experience like you've never had before. I'm going to close this morning with a quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes. He said, "All power and all wealth, everything that the human mind holds worthwhile, it's just worthless without happiness." So I would add to the end of that quote, why not be happy? Yeah, and don't worry, right? That's all I got to say about that. Take a breath. Take a nice, deep, holy, cleansing breath. And feel that sense of aliveness at the very center of your being. Today we step into the final month of the year 2024. And we do so with gratitude, with heartfelt reflection to deepen how grateful we are for the gifts we have received and for those yet to come. I just feel the love of God right here in this holy space that we create in our togetherness. Whether we are sitting in this sanctuary or listening from afar, we are one. For we indeed are oneing with the Holy Spirit in this very moment. We call on the power of these words, knowing that they stimulate something that is an activity that is purely divine. They stir within us a movement, a quickening, a remembrance that life is holy and that we indeed are here to receive the gifts that are ours and to use those gifts as we walk through our own journey of life. So I feel that love of God and I sense it all around me, and I rejoice in knowing again that there is no place where God is not. That God is fully present and active in each and every life of every living thing. Every blade of grass is vibrant with life. Even in dormancy, there is life. There is a renewal that happens at this time of year in these seasons of life in which even our bodies shift and change. And yet there is something rejuvenating that is always unfolding within us. And so I know that our physical bodies respond to this spoken word. And wherever there is any appearance of illness or anything ailing, we know that there is just this restoration of truth, this revealing of aliveness, so that the DNA in the cells of our being responds in that godly way to reveal our godness, to reveal that perfection, to heal what is out of order, to bring us back into a state of grace so that we might live our lives vibrantly. And so we feel and sense that God vibrance, that vital force of life. And we recognize that indeed it is a healing force in this universe. It is the impulse of love itself. And it is love that heals all. It is love that instills that awareness of the divine illumination so that we can look each other in the eye and we can see the God stuff. We can do the namaste and see the God in each other. And by seeing it and recognizing it, we call it forward. And so there is a renewal happening on this planet right now. We are part of this great emergence of light and of love and of healing. Discord is lifted so that we can begin to recognize how important our place is. And so I know that this spiritual community is blessed by these words of prayer, by this giving tree with the evidence of commitment of this community, that we are uplifted and we are ready to step into the new year. So I say thank you, God. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. Thank you, Life, for these truths ground us yet again. And we are ready to face this week, to face this month, and to choose how we will move through our days. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. I just release this now and let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
Grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
All right. Thank you, Bradford. We are grateful. And just, Reverend Karen was talking about Kathy Rose, and she's been in the kitchen again, getting stuff ready for this afternoon. That woman never stops. I asked her, I said, do you guys ever sleep? Phil said no. So thank you, Kathy Rose and Phil. We're glad that you are part of our community. We love you so much. So now is the time to celebrate the abundance of our lives and the abundance of our community. So we are not passing around the offering plate. We have drop boxes in the back of the room, also in Pampke Hall, and the black boxes in there. And so any donation tithe that you give us, we are gratefully and joyously receiving. So thank you very much. So let's say our giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Sing it with us. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up if you're ready to have some fun. And sing it. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. One more time. Oh, it feels so good to be alive.
Ooh, yes, it does. Feels good to be alive. So let's say a closing affirmation. Repeat after me. I choose happiness through the holidays.
I choose happiness through the holidays.
And so it is.